ISU wins in an incredible spray down, incredible series.
Pistol whip. He's already planting. What is that? Oh, but the vertical position will be able to take one.
When I'm back on the clock, you're only with me in the back of my mind now. It's a cycle, it's a path I can't find. It's a fist, premise is the rock and roll. Good shot. Vulnerable. Maybe it's my fate and it's all my fault and I know.
Ooh, Kirito's also finding a kill. Kirito's finding a double kill. There's one man left. And Louisa's doing it. Louisa's doing it. They take the game. And my prediction's right. I want to say it again. Say it again for chat. Say it again for
Your
chat.
prediction was right. My bad.
Yeah.
And now this menace is pushing down blue stairs, showing no signs of stopping. What nectar pick? Oh my gosh! What the heck, Servant? How did he get away with that? 3 won't be able to take one. Takes 2! Double kill. Now for a 1v1. The swing comes in, tries to go for a pre-fire, and the prone shot to take pencil.
Stay away from the drop though, so I don't. They only love me when I'm back on the clock. You're only with me in the back of my mind now. It's a cycle, it's a path I can't find. Sisyphus, premise is the rock. You think that you know me good? You think that you know me?
They are already on
Always
site.
advance. Say how I fail, you know I stand. Raising the bar, I gotta expand. Top of the charts, I'm setting up camp. Pounding my stakes, I put on my tent. Shoot for the stars, they fall in my head. Stick to my guns, I don't even flinch. Can push all you want, ain't moving an inch. I rarely miss, you know I'm relentless. Ain't got a choice, no way to prevent it. Just who I am, and I don't regret it. See what I want, and then I go get it. Follow my gut, I'm happy I did it. Beat all the odds.
And welcome back to the Midwest R6 playoffs. We got the final 4 for 2 different divisions today. We're kicking it off with Division 6 through 8, SIUE Cougars versus MSU Green. I'm Box Kimchi here to bring you the action with Piercing. And the dynamic duo returns. It's mirrored. It's that way. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. I'm back, and it's good to see you again, Kimchi. Boy, we're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. Almost there to the finals. And I am looking forward to seeing both MSU Green versus the SIUE Cougars. I mean, it's been a while since I've kept my eye on SIUE. That's actually funny enough. Some people might remember this from previous seasons, but SIUE is actually the school that is right next to my hometown. So it's good to see them high up in the ranks. So I look forward to seeing how they'll do in this division and see if they are able to advance to the finals. I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited.
Yeah, they're coming in with the better record, played in the lower division, but MSU Green swept their way here, 2-0'd last week against Louisville Red. So momentum may be on their side, but always got to play the game. It's never a foregone conclusion until those happen.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, we've seen some pretty big upsets here, and I wouldn't be surprised if an upset was at the helm here. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. And anyone who presumes it is, well, get ready to lose those channel points.
Tell Louisville Red that. I believe we're jumping into SIUE's line. No, it's MSU. I assumed the other way. But on MSU Green, the underdogs, we got Overlord, Spicy Guac, Mr. Epic, CJ Shanghai, and Steel. And that's a lot of kills, and not a lot of kills for Shanghai. I've not followed D6 through 8, so I actually don't know if there's been a substitution or someone is playing extreme support. Just has been told, play exactly these 3 operators and just stand here.
Yeah, no, so far, I don't have any word on any substitutions so far. But yeah, taking a closer look at some of these numbers, Spicy Guac with 230 kills with an SPR of 50.72. Usually with numbers like that at this point, you're looking at closer to entry-esque kind of numbers. You know, getting your pick, maybe getting a little bit of impact, finding your way in, and then getting out or going out by getting refragged. But with a 50.72 SPR, that's pretty high survivability. That's usually going to be more of your playmaker number. So I would say keep an eye out for this player here, as you're likely going to see him involved in some pretty crucial plays for MSU Green. But looking at our second team for tonight, that is going to be SIUE. And we have the Courier, Lord Inosuke, Fitzrain, Davia and Chaos. Oh, Dave. Cool.
We're gonna. It'll be a. We're gonna get yelled at. I'm sorry. We're gonna get yelled at for those pronunciations, but is what it is, and that is 200 kill players. So
it.
you're definitely doing something right in terms of at least the aggressive play.
Yeah, and what I find so interesting is looking at these stats, we're seeing I would say a considerably bigger divide. You've got consistently, whether it's Fitzrain or Dave or Chaos, around almost the exact same SPR, which is about 46, 43, 46. But then you've got two much higher SPRs. That's going to be coming from Courier and Lord with 52.64 and 55.66. But even then, huge kill differential, 209 versus 261. So I do kind of wonder what the dynamics of this team plays will be coming from SIUE Cougars, as this is a bit more of a curveball, I would say, when it comes to stat lines.
Should be moving on to the head-to-head, and we have Thatcher. That's not even Thatcher. That's Thermite. I'm bad at video games, I promise. But we have Spicy Guac versus Lord Inosuke. And these numbers, pretty comparable. Similar ratings across the board. Similar survival percentages. A little bit of a lower kill participation. Or not kill participation. Too much League on the brain as well is bad for you. Kills per round for Spicy Guac. But actually a lower KD as well. So I lied. Lord Inosuke is just outright leading this specific matchup, at least.
Yeah, which is rather interesting to kind of see. You know, I wouldn't really expect, you know, SIUE to have a more aggressive kind of composition. But I mean, with stat lines like that coming from Lord, I think that could very well be on the table. If you're consistently and reliably getting a kill per round every single round, I mean, that indicates a pretty high level of activity, especially when you consider the KD as well. 261 over 175. You don't get KDs like those by having a few star plays and then getting wiped out for several rounds before making another star play. That's usually a persistent level of confidence, which leads me to believe that SIUE might have a pretty good attack underway for these upcoming maps. And I mean, yeah, like you said, across the board, Lord comes out on top in each of the metrics, but Spicy Guac still holding up with some fairly reliable numbers as well. I mean, no one's negative as far as KD goes, and all stat lines of all things considered are still quite impressive, but a bit more balanced as far as, you know, statistical deviations coming from Spicy Guac.
Statistical deviation, busting out the fancy words for the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the player overtime coming up, and it will be Spicy Guac returns to the stat sheets, and just the improvement overall, actually, right now, from spring to fall is absurd. It's each player rating increase of nearly 11, increasing the KDR by half a point. Half a point? That's the correct way to phrase it, I believe. Slight increase to the kills per round, slight decrease to the survival rating, though, which can obviously be correlated with the increase in kill frequency, and especially if you're popping off very frequently and you're playing the entry, you're not going to be the one who needs to survive deep into the round. That's usually for your cleanup squad rather than your entry fragger.
Well, yeah, but I mean, one thing to kind of keep in, you know, consideration when going against heavy hitters as you make it deeper into these semis, when you have low survival ratings like that, around 24%, which that's fine when you're entering, you're kind of doing your job. That kind of all then depends on how the rest of your teammates are able to handle cleanup. As, you know, with higher player differentials or, you know, more even matchups, you might have to compensate that with a higher KDR. And that's where I do kind of wonder, because despite the KDR being very high, we do have to take in consideration the KPR, which is at 1.25 for the current season, and then the SRV, which means that quite frequently he's either just outright surviving without out taking one, or he's getting one, maybe getting two, and then promptly getting out after, So that tells me that we're not seeing player advantages coming out of a lot of these exchanges. So this is where keeping an eye on the cleanup crew coming in from MSU Green is going to be really important here, because I suspect from looking at the numbers that we have in front of us, I don't think there's going to be enough killing power to ease off pressure, right? So this kind of makes me wonder how these late rounds are going to look, because I don't think they're going to get quite the edge that they're going to be looking for potentially.
I actually really do like that perspective on the survival rating, but have to cut it a little short as the other player over time is also Inosuke again, and only a 4-point increase in siege player rating, but had a higher by 3 points over Spicy Guac in the spring season. Barely an increase in the KDR, barely an increase in the KPR, 2% drop in survival rating. So we're seeing a lot of consistency come out from Inosuke here compared to the just general improvement, very large improvements from Spicy Guac from spring to fall, taking a lot of time in that summer and I guess during the fall season to really amp up the game. But Inosuke just keeping things chugging along, seems to be working well for SIUE.
Absolutely. And if you're a powerhouse player, I would argue that consistency is going to be more important than anything else. We're talking a differential of one whole round, where Guac on average was surviving 1 out of every 4 rounds. Okay, I'm going to butcher these names. I'm sorry. I do this every time, so it is what it is. But that being said, we're looking at about a 1 in every 3 rounds surviving to the very end to make meaningful impact. That is a massive difference. That's not something to scoff at, because that means despite having a pretty decent or reliable KPR, kill per round, and KDR, this pretty much means that this is a player that you will be seeing starting off strong, potentially, and carrying it all the way to the very end. This is going to be one of your long-term players that I would say to keep a good eye out on, for not only just the sheer presence that this person has, but also how they're able to carry themselves throughout the rounds. So utility management, I think, will be really important here, considering you have that higher survivability. And all it takes sometimes is just one extra flash, one extra nade, maybe a drone, and that can easily turn the tides of a round when you need a strong execute. So I think that gives a little boost in confidence in the attack playstyle to SIUE Cougars.
And with that, I believe we should be moving to the player to watch, or the it might be the maps. It is the map bans first. Of course, we can't go to the player to watch if we don't know what the maps are. And it is MSU's pick for labs to kick us off. SIUE took Clubhouse, and we left up Border. So we will be not boarding the helicopter in the final, should this go to a third and deciding map.
I do like the cafe for the decider. I'm always going to be kind of iffy about Clubhouse, especially with, Blackbeard now being a thing, the rework being out. Oh, that's going to be interesting. I would like, and this is me fantasizing, I would like to see Clash just kind of get in Blackbeard's face. I think that would be hilarious, but yeah, if he doesn't get banned, it's going to be a problem. But with that being said, let's take a look at that top 5 by Ubisoft.
Nope. Player to watch first.
Nope. Player to watch. I screwed it up. My bad. My bad.
If you have the numbers, it's no surprise that the player to watch will be from MSU Green. It's Spicy Guac once again. They have 5 games on Nighthaven. So just through sheer sample size, 47 and 40, a touch below 50 on the SPR, a touch under 1. A little bit of a general decrease, honestly, in the overall stats, besides survival rating, where we see a slight boost. So we're going to have to really see if that slight increase from about 1/4 to 1/5 survival, or from 1/5 to 1/4, will really be the difference for MSU Green here.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely some things to consider. But with that, Let's go right into top 5 by Ubisoft.
Can't do anything, but I can blame it on nice.
One Raptors on
After that. Like that.
Condor, on Condor.
What's going up, main?
in bathroom. Bandit.
Nice.
Bandit in bathroom. Bandit up.
Logi dead.
He stood up
Nice.
flank.
Nice.
Logi
connector bathroom. Nice.
Here, one's here, Buck. Buck below. There,
That's-
He's holding you, Logan.
Said.
Dying to fire.
Down another one,
Above
Logan.
us. Above us. He's still highway. Still highway. Bathroom.
My ace. My fucking ace.
Nice, Logan.
Here comes the sweep the wall. Knows that there's one close by, but how close does she know? And does finally catch him out. This is a. And now Logan trying to test that foot first, but can she do all the way downstairs with a health disadvantage? And with those thrown holes, Reserve gonna be the one to save the day.
Right now, crouch. Crouch right, swinging crouch right. Don't swing it.
Whoa! Yeah, baby!
All right, and we are just about ready to start. I don't know what is happening in my camera.
Oh
That's not
no,
my
the
fault.
toaster.
I
It
will plead the
returns.
fifth on that.
It's because you don't have the
The
curtains.
toaster camera, no. But anyway, I did want to kind of talk a little bit more about the Blackbeard rework. Now, just making sure we're on the same page. Blackbeard rework, it is out. My camera's still funky. That's okay. We're good. We're chilling. Love it. But yeah, I mean, I would expect there to be a Blackbeard ban. There's no way. I mean, with the level of oppression that is potentially offered with such an operator, I mean, I've just been seeing clips all over the place on X, and sheesh, it is crazy. But we'll see just in a second. Oh no, the Kebi ban.
You have to remember
That
though,
means-
with this banning system, it's not like League or Dota where you take the operator away from one team, you take it away from nobody. Both sides get to use it if it's unbanned, which it will be here, so I think both of these teams want either to not touch the operator or bust out some top-tier shenanigans.
I'm so for it. I've seen so many complaints about how busted he is, and there's the two-brow ban. Not surprised. I mean, it's a small map, takes away a lot of time. Makes sense. Probably gonna see something else stalled, getting rid of as well. Maybe some basement paranoia, like a Cade ban. Zed will be a zombie. Typical.
And
I mean,
nothing
even though
new.
you can shoot it out, it's still pretty obnoxious for the balcony. But back to what we were talking about. I mean, so many complaints about how busted he is and all this
Everyone
other
hates it.
jazz. And now we get to see it firsthand. I do
Come on,
wonder
MSU.
if we're
Come
gonna
on.
see the Blackbeard from anybody. No?
Well, depends
we
on where they
sure the
think they're
rework
going
is out?
first. Unless it is 100% out. Prawn is confirmed. It is out 100%, so it is on the table here. No one else has banned it yet. No other league has banned it. I'm sorry, and okay, we're just gonna start with that. Fenrir makes it. Fenrir, a famous nuisance since he's been released. It's kind of slipped my mind. No one really either let him through or picked him this season.
Well, in other leagues that I've been casting in, he has had some prevalence. So it's not like, you know, he's been nowhere to be seen. I think it just highly depends on, you know, kind of the map and what kind of playstyle you're going for. I think that's kind of the big thing.
He's just been sent to the Shadow Realm for most of the season as like third most banned defender.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting turn of events, but he 100% has some relevance here.
Oh, yeah,
I
he
would
does.
agree with that.
Good luck swinging at any corners when you can't see. Oh, that's kind of evil.
Yeah, that's a really good Fenrir. Because, I mean, that's a common strat you see is once that IT wall is opened and you're getting ready for a push, you start making a move towards that walk up, and that's not something you easily spot unless you already know about it. So that could potentially be huge in securing SIUE a first round if they're able to keep their numbers up for the beginning half of this round. As long as their numbers don't go down too far, they can easily capitalize on that. But displacement is going to be big on being able to hold that. If they lose warehouse, that's going to be a pretty significant drawback. So I do like that setup there. A little bit of late setup coming in from CC Hallway, but we're not really seeing too much as far as util setup or even much pressure coming in from MSU Green. All's pretty slow at the moment.
Yeah, from the most part, it's been get one small barricade victory, drone out with somebody else. Once the drone clears the area, push forward very cautiously, drone again. They are really not putting any. SIUE are pretty much just chilling in their initial positions. They're kind of just walking around, honestly, free to roam right now since there's no real pressure. And finally, with the Thatcher nade going down, some actual pressure going to be put on the defense here.
And now they've got that electrical wall open. There's going to be a little bit of presence and pressure now coming out. Whoa! Curry spotted out right in the open. Spicy Guac trying to walk forward a little bit past that. Not going to be able to. Does go down and turn. We're going to see a TK and another pick coming out onto Overlord. But that's the opening, even if it's a TK opening. Oh, Nitro coming up from below. It's going to be Chaos. Able to take 2 down. And that is going to be an overextension, punishing MSU Green greatly. Now, going to be up to Connector. Try to save this. 3 positions to slice up, and unfortunately won't be able to get that warehouse player.
That felt very odd. Once MSU actually got that, all they needed was IT wall. They got that wall down, or electric wall, not IT. Whoops. Immediately, they got a pick. I mean, they also got some assistance from SIU taking out one of their own, Fitzrain, with the TK there, but they went for a very quick defuse right after opening up the wall and getting 2 kills. It's just good C4ing, honestly.
Oh yeah, very well.
Not sure if it was a great idea to go for that, like, quick defuse there with the situation they were in. They didn't know where anybody else was for the Cougars.
It seemed like it was kind of a forced opportunity, and I do like the confidence.
Oh yeah.
I will say that, like, if you see an opportunity, take it. But I do believe that it was a pretty considerable miscalculation, as there really wasn't much displacement. It's not like you got a high value pick such as, you know, warehouse balk or IT or even, you know, command center pillar. All you got was the office. That's not really a strong enough position to kind of force a funneled push like that. You're begging to get nitroed at that point. So I do think there's a little bit of a revaluation, but I do like the confidence if it's placed in the right way.
It also wasn't even a pick, honestly. It was an uneven trade. They lost the trade. They just got bailed out by some misfortunate timing there from the Cougars more than anything. So, yeah, confidence where it matters, but a bit of a bold call. Maybe a bit overconfident where they really shouldn't have.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I think that's going to be easier to adjust than a lack of initiative, which to me always rings as a massive downfall for a lot of teams in this league. So I think that MSU Green will be fine for the time being if they're able, you know, to adjust. A lot of drones coming in from MSU Green. That's what, 3, 4 drones coming out, 5 shot out at this point. A lot of drones lost, but no pick to be seen. They do establish vertical control, but that comes at a significant intel loss. You talked about how there was a bit of an intel situation that made that force execute a bit difficult last round. And now they're already looking at potentially the same thing. And look at how many drones are deployed. 4 in pocket, only 1 out right now. It's a little scary. Ooh, but what's scary for SIUE is that warehouse pick. Not sure what the stance was there, but that's gonna be big for getting ever so much closer towards basement. That's a brilliant shot coming out from Spicy Guac. Crucially needed considering the time and the intel.
It's kind of the second time he hasn't, you know, checked where he's going. What is that C4 from Inosuke to even out the numbers? And that's gonna definitely slow the pushes. That's the bunk. That's your vertical maker right there getting taken out.
Big loss, taking out someone like Mr. Epic, especially when you only have now Ash for that vertical. Don't get me wrong, you've got breach charges, you've got Ash charges, but some of that was used on the 3rd floor, which I really don't think was the right call. But then again, keep in mind, look at how much intel they have remaining. Not a lot. And none of them are deployed, at least if the UI is giving me the right information. It probably isn't. Thanks, UB. But it does look like they are getting some pings out, some information. Does spot one. That's going to be Iniski able to take that player out after that Nitro pick. This is looking a lot better. You've now got a 4v3, Smoke's going out, now going for the plant. We do see the swing towards Pillar. That's going to be Chaos taking that. Opportunity for a retake. Nitro goes out, not going to connect the spot one towards the breach, but there's the hold coming in from CJ to be able to bring that around, shutting down Chaos for good. No! Wow! Oh, what a shot coming in from Dave to take Shanghai down. That's going to leave Nanotech to be the last one, and with players behind a breach, spread out. This is kind of a tough ask, especially with minimal information. There's no cams, no defaults to work with here. 15 seconds on the clock. Gonna have to find an opening to force a push. Gets a little damage off of exit, but not enough as the read swing from Spicy Guac comes through. And that's gonna be one of the key players surviving it through on the vertical.
And it seems like such a small thing, but I want to point out Spicy Guac actually opening up with the breaching round, as we kind of said. The only vertical you had left was Spicy Guac with breaching rounds and charges, and a perfectly timed one actually to pressure a rotation, to force a rotation out that led to the 4v3 that eventually would just turn into a pure numbers advantage victory. And it's small things like that, honestly, that are kind of where MSU are pressuring. That's what they're going to need to execute on. They did get a lucky pick again. Courier just kind of not clearing his position, not checking his corners. That was more of a vertical in that situation, but they got the numbers advantage through the just kind of careless walking, careless rotation, and eventually just continue to expand that pressure throughout the rest of the round.
Yeah, and you don't really have a lot of options when you don't really have much, if any, of a roam presence. We saw the very early fall off. I mean, you kind of had to, considering how many drones were on you, and there really wasn't much support on the vertical to be able to hold that position and stall the time. And that over fallback, right? Not even a minute, 30 seconds, all already back on site. That gives way too much time to let that vertical stink. And on a map like Basement, there's way too much flexibility, mobility. I mean, there's too many options to run around and get impact out of vertical. And that's where anchoring was not really the best choice. You know, especially, like you said, kind of floating around and getting caught by vertical. But moving on to this round, we are back onto the same site, Basement. That's going to be SIUE's call. And we're already seeing a kind of similar style loose roam. You got one player above. I'm telling you, this is
and
not
spotted
the
immediately.
gold. And it's going to be even faster now. This is effectively going to do nothing or cost them a player. Wow, Spicy Guac.
Dave?
Talk about taking the lead very early on. I mean, that's an even more unfortunate situation for SIUE. Not only did they clear that much faster, but they even took a player down too. That's going to be Dave out of the question. You know, losing players, like, yeah, but I mean, there's just no support, which is the primary issue. You got to have someone with you, or you got to focus on the roam on the first floor, and you paid the price dearly for it. One person roams haven't worked for a while, and they don't work anymore. And that's kind of the thing that SIUE has to realize. Otherwise, they're going to be having these problems like this. With Iniski going down to Spicy Guac. That's a 2K for our Ash player here. And look at this. 1 minute, 12 seconds. All the vertical in the world. And SIUE is now scrambling with Nanotech, or both of the Nanotechs, oh, I'm sorry, Chaos and Courier both rotating around.
Opening your own vertical there is kind of a tough situation. There's a pin. Doesn't click fast enough. Steel going to get taken out on his own swing by a good hold by Chaos there.
Yeah, no, very decent shot
Walk
coming
with a
out, but a
triple.
triple kill coming in from Spicy Guac, able to take Chaos down. The vertical just mounting the pressure, and there's still more to find. One more breach shard still available. Looking for blood, trying to find that other player here. Smoke's now deployed. Looks like MSU Green is going to be in prime position to go plant as Overlord will be able to take Rain down in turn, leaving only Courier left alive to try to salvage this situation. But that won't happen. Spicy Guac getting a 4K. Talk about being on a roll.
I mean, I guess, yeah, as you pointed out, the Legion roam on top floor of all places with no support was a bit of a bold call there, and it immediately got caught out. Dave didn't even have an opportunity to rotate to safety, immediately got taken out by a nice shot by Spicy Guac, and then it's just continuous small errors that eventually just gave over full control to MSU. They literally could not have. I mean, I can't say could not have. There's always a situation where a team loses a round, but that was a near impossible round to lose from the position they were granted a 5v3 almost off of the bat with little pressure exerted. They literally droned one guy, got a 5v4, and then just ran to the same spot that they've been pressuring the entire, or for both basement rounds, and forced an error there. So you can't really ask for more.
Right, and what I kind of wonder is, if you want to go for a solo roam, why not bring Scoopos? I mean, am I wrong to think that? I mean, if things look rough like that, you could immediately get a free fallback. That's kind of the whole point. And I do kind of wonder if there's a bit of compositional rigidity coming from SIUE, and that very well could be the case. Look at the composition for this round. You've got Legion again, Bandit again, Castle again. Almost a mirror
Jaeger
composition,
again,
except for the Fenrir from the last time they played Command Center, which they did win, but I think that was just from a little bit of overzealousness, as we discussed in the first round, coming from MSU Green. But I kind of doubt that that same situation is going to arise, as they now know that what the roam presence looks like.
Whoa.
Which is not a whole lot, except for this time. Wow. Lord Iniski taking a very early pick. 2! Oh my gosh! 3! Crushing the initial entry. That is what you call a rough start for MSU Green. Command Center is not their lucky side, I'll tell you that, folks.
Oh, that stems from the first round. I don't know if SIUE were aware of it, but that is the exact same entry point that Epic started to push to eventually weave his way to the bomb site. So I don't know if they had the read on that already and knew he was going to go through the same exact door, but they had Iniski. Iniski was just ready. He was sitting there in the same exact hallway, ready to swing the moment he heard that barricade go down. And eventually, they just kept peeking the guy. He just aggressive swing, and my goodness, that was a brutal, brutal play.
Yeah, but I mean, they still have Thatcher and Thermite, so they do have some play. Yeah, very unfortunate. But I mean, there's still some options for breaching, which they do get that, but Iniski is not done. Takes another. Oh, there's the 4K, or the ace. So unfortunate. But I mean, the damage is already done. Look at the health. Very low HP. And you've got no hard breach charges remaining. Still have 2 smokes, but that's not going to be enough to slice up 4 different players, all focused on you. All they need is just a little bit of sound on where you are, and no amount of smokes is going to save you here. And with 50 seconds on the clock, they don't really have much of an option. But it does look like they are going to be doing a tactical timeout here, which I think is the right call, considering what's just happened. But like you said, if that's a call coming from, you know, Iniski, or Iniski on, you know, that initial push, brilliant call.
No, doesn't get it.
No.
Dave picks up number 5 there. It's a foregone conclusion at that point. I just was hoping they would at least get a kill, because it would be kind of weird.
Yeah, and I do wonder what the intel situation was looking like there when that played out. Because, I mean, having a situation like that, where you are losing 3 off the jump on initial entry, especially when SIUE hasn't really been that heavy on the roam, that is really dangerous territory for MSU Green, right? Because their biggest boon has been the fact that they've been able to compound their setup and get so much impact out of it. But what impact is there to have when you're having steep drops like this? That I wouldn't even argue that was a full-on roam. That was more like a lurk close to sight. And for it to do that much damage, that's a big vulnerability, right? That pretty much seals the deal that you don't really need a full-on roam to put a curb stop to MSU Green. So I do wonder how the composition, the playstyle SIUE will adapt based off that.
I also am wondering if it's a little bit of a lazy droning, because even though they didn't win the last command center round, they opened that round with the same push from Mr. Epic, but they droned him out very heavily, which led to their slow playstyle. So either they got lazy or thought that they needed to speed up a little bit more to avoid giving SIU just that much pressure when it comes to the late round. But it seems like a little bit of overcompensation if it is that situation. And they're watching it again. They know. They know he's going to come through that door again.
And how could you not expect that? I mean, after what just happened, my goodness. They do have the Lion Skin call, trying to fish out somebody, and they do successfully. Spicy Guac taking Courier out. That's going to be a huge early pick on the vertical. I don't think he was. Again,
No, he was alone on
big
that.
weakness coming from SIUE, not having that backup. You still got one player above. Does manage to pick Spicy Guac. That's going to be Dave taking that pick. They do have the ping on the electrical room player. Looking to take that one, get about half damage onto Iniski, still able to cause trouble here. This is a big slowdown coming in from MSU Green, but the fallback does come a little bit early, I would say. So they do have that vertical, but with still another Nitro in hand, there's a lot of room for damage here in counter vertical.
Who's in the hands of, I believe it's... No, it's Chaos. It's not Iniske. Inische's been popping off with the C4. No, and
there it is.
Chaos gonna get the down. They're just probably gonna run up the stair. Oh, they don't know what he's back on to.
Attackers bomb diffuser.
Overload's gonna fall in a 1v1 to Iniske there. That's a big deal. Oh no. It's about to get verted so hard. A little bit of feet damage. Shanghai gonna actually take down Iniske there, and they get a decent chunk out of Chaos as well. Shanghai gonna keep pushing this CJ. Do you have the wiggle peaks? No. Does not.
At the very least, they do have Diffuser in hand, but this does mean that CJ is pretty much cornered here. Shanghai all alone over by main lobby, and with no support, or minimal support, though there is a bit of backup now with that line call coming in from Steel. All it takes is for Shanghai to go down here, and that can spell a game-ending scenario. Not to mention, they don't have the wall open yet. There's 23 seconds. They have to get that electricity down. It does look like they'll finally be able to get it off, and with no one to stop it, that wall will finally be open. But with 15 seconds, they're going to have to force this situation. It doesn't seem like they have the intel coming in. Late. Chaos able to take one, trying to contest the vertical. That's going to be Rain to reassess that, retake that, which is huge. And now forced to walk down and try to break this up. There's going to be no time for SIUE to secure that round.
That is, I mean, they play glacially slow there. They do get a bit of a brick wall in the form of just immediately losing someone. Especially their top fragger of the game, Spicy Guac, who has been having, has been the player to watch so far for a reason.
What I kind of, go ahead.
I mean, I was just gonna say, it feels a little slow, especially with the not even theoretical, just the actual advantage they should have had, knowing that again they were just gonna send one on or finding one on an early roam and immediately just taking them out, not even giving Courier a chance to back off.
Yeah, and I do kind of wonder how you had Mr. Epic playing above on the vertical, and yet Chaos was still able to make it above and take one off of that vertical Rain to take that vertical position. I do kind of wonder what circumstances led to that, because they knew that he was there, but to have someone still on vertical and then still, lose someone on that position, that is an incident you really... What is that? Is that the sprint walk that people were talking about? Did you see that?
No, I actually was taking off my sweater. I have no clue. I only know there's a Tachanka and we're watching him, and I'm very confused about the Tachanka pick.
So am I. I don't even want to think about that right
now. No way. If they open this wall, they're so cooked. Never mind. Dang it.
Nope. Not cooked.
Yeah. So good news, that thing has 0 fire rate. That's the real benefit of it. Hits like a truck, has 0 fire rate intentionally, and Spicy Guac just gonna continue to up that KPR. It's 5v3 already. The game just started.
No, MSU Green has really learned their lesson now. Only 3 drones down with 5 out on the initial entry. This is great drone work coming in from MSU Green. Big impact to take both Rain and Inaski down this early on. That leaves 2 Nitros remaining, still room for damage, and a Fenrir, but I mean, that's still a big loss, losing both of your active utility there. That's going to prove trouble. However, there's another Nitro. SIUE sure loves their Nitros. Able to take 1 down. Vertical now starting. This is the strong point of MSU Green. But what I do wonder is if they're ready for a potential walk-up from SIUE. They've been getting a little gutsy, you know, with their counter entry and their walk-ups, and I do wonder if that'll happen again. But I would expect a little bit more due diligence on MSU Green's response. Some vertical coming out. KO's gonna be able to get a successful counter swing. That strength now wavering for MSU Green, as they are now down to an even 3v3. Smokes now going up. And there's the attempted walkout to the breach. And you're going to see attempted Nitro. Whoa! Shanghai taking both for the double kill. But Courier does manage to catch Steel. Plant now going down. It's a 2v1. Both lined up to the breach. This is very winnable for Courier, but he has to find that one. Both on the crosses. Oh, but gets caught on the swing after those prop shots give away the position. That's going to be thanks to Overlord. Give MSU that round.
I don't know what that's a bit of a weird chain of events. Obviously, 2 kills out the game. Just no questions asked. Also, we have a 3-3 split. This is so... Honestly, it's kind of average. But it's just kind of... Like, I'm so used to just defense curb stomping that this is a bit of a change of speed for me.
Honestly, I like it, though. You've seen a lot of adaptations. You've seen some strategies in place starting to taper off. I mean, we did see a bit of walk-up and a little bit of counter entry from SIUE. Had big impact, and then it backfired, right? A lot of adaptations coming in from both teams. You also saw, you know, MSU Green kind of go for a more aggressive stance and then kind of, you know, slowed down, made big strides over in basement. In fact, MSU Green won basement every single time, but simultaneously lost command center every single time. And then that first round, which could have been the 4-2 differential, they really could, or they just couldn't pull through because they played it a little bit too slow there. But otherwise, I mean, very close play coming up from both teams. No Blackbeard yet. I really do wonder if there's something else to him that people are way over-exaggerating as far as his strength goes. But I do wonder what Spicy Guac's gonna do here. He's eyeing that door a little too much, if you ask me.
Oh, they're asking because they didn't know. Did they not know? Well, obviously, one doesn't know. I don't know if MSU. Yeah, MSU think they can use it, so definitely not a lack of information regarding the status of the operator. It's probably just don't want to touch an operator after so closely or so recently being reworked, possibly. Even though it's very similar to how he used to play.
Hey, historically, the teams that take advantage of openings like that are usually the teams that come out on top. So, I mean, I think there is absolutely some viability to bring in that operator to the table. Does get those walls open with the secondary hard breach charges, which I'm all for that, even though you do have a thermite, but both of those charges are already used up. And now, here comes the slice and dice, and so far, not looking too well. The Nitro coming in from Steel, returning the favor back. Ying's now coming out, no warded in play, so this means that those flashes will have full impact. Smoke now coming down. Looks like SIUE might be going for a more aggressive slice-up using utility, but we're not seeing any major pushes yet. Rain gonna go down, Epic gonna take a little bit of damage, but will be able to finish that fight out on top. And that's gonna be with now the smokes dissipated as well. Seems like this attempted force entry is not gonna be happening.
Epic hasn't moved, by the way. He's been standing here the entire round. He's heard everything happen to that wall, and he's standing here waiting for them to push. As there's a gunfight going down. Oh, swing the quarter. He didn't know Chaos was reloading. He could have got the free kill, and Chaos is gonna make him pay for his patience. It's 4v3. No, there's a mirror right there. They're not gonna get that swing.
Oh no, absolutely not. They're kind of boxed out right now. And
Chaos
that's kind of the
also no
thing,
health.
you know, if you're not really feeling any real pressure, where's the impetus to move? And there really isn't one, especially when you've got a one-player differential in your favor. You know, despite Overlord going down, he's already did the job. Smoke's now going out again. Oh, but exposed himself to Dave. Smoke's now going out with 25 seconds to walk up to Warehouse. That's dicey, as they now have a cross on the diffuser. Very nice shot coming in from Spicy Guac. That's going to be taking...
seconds to go.
That's Chaos down, and Chaos executed by
down.
the gas.
Yep, and now it's gonna be a 1v3 diffuser down, and he's not going anywhere. Spicy Guac to take Courier as well. And that means that MSU will be taking the lead on this half.
What was SIUE's plan? They had 3 people posted at that same wall for almost the entire opening phase of the round, pretty much. They got that wall opened pretty easily. Mr. Epic was just gonna let them. He had that entire room blind. Like, if you entered that room, you were gonna get blinded and swung immediately, so he was pretty confident just standing there. There was no pressure really, and
Need to locate and defuse
that
as
was
many
supposed to
bombs
be
as
their
they
key
can.
pressure point, and they never, ever pushed him off of that, and they didn't really have a backup plan, it seems, as they just kind of kept running that, just kept standing there hoping that they would find something eventually. Maybe Epic leaves out of boredom. I don't
Attackers
know.
have discovered the location of a bomb.
Who knows? Whatever the case, we won't see it into full effect. And now it's time for MSU Green's turn to go into basement. And I do kind of wonder what their verticals look like. 'Cause we saw a lot of isolation coming in from SIUE, which led to a lot of issues. But now MSU Green looks like they might have at the very least, some utility support, with Mr. Epic going 2 of his Fenrir gadgets up above to help support, which is, you know, better than nothing in alone, but I still do not think is potentially the right call. But it does look like they're going to be focusing on first floor, which is fine, but it looks like SIUE will be making the right call to go for a slightly more horizontal, focusing on the first floor rather than second, which is a big time loss. I can see that. And now the question is, are we going to see a walk-up on vertical? There are secondary shotguns on the board. Oh, never mind. First floor be danged. We're going to be seeing a rush plant potentially. Yep, there's the Candelas.
Did they lose the
Here
first
we
one?
go.
Please don't tell me they destroyed the first one.
Yep, they got it. Oh, do think they have vertical. They have eyes. Here comes the Candelas. And the drone's now coming out as well. It's going to be a touch drone destroying utility. No push, though, despite the Candelas. Now we see utility slowly trickling out, but I think this is going to give too much time to MSU Green to kind of warn what's happening here. No major push-up so far. Another smoke going out, another Candela. Steel gonna catch Rain from the vertical in a perfect position to get some key damage here. This is what I was talking about, that position being strong. Oh, but they are getting the plant down so far, and nothing to stop it. Nigel goes out, but it misses. Another player down. That's gonna be from the breach. Courier without his utility. Job is done. Or Inaski gonna be able to take Shanghai as well, but that's gonna be him going down as well, pushing up a little bit too much. Now with a 2v4, tries to go for defuse. That's gonna be Overlord, but does go down. And now here comes the counter push against the breach. Double kill for Steel. Now gonna have to push this to save the round, but not gonna be successful, as this will be a successful retake and a failed rush from SIUE.
It's exactly as you said, honestly. That's when you said, why are they waiting so long? That was the exact thought I honestly had. They pretty much got exactly what they wanted immediately. And they never took the space. They alerted MSU to exactly where they wanted to go, how they wanted to play, and they said, okay, you're not going to push. We're going to set up some crosses. We're going to have 2 of our players sitting on vert ready for you to enter whenever, so they could just click your heads really easy and get some chip damage down. And when you say the word rush, but that really was a glacially slow rush. Like when we've seen that play pulled off before, usually it's teams take Capitao Ying, throw down every utility, and just try to get in as fast as they can, and then stand outside and say, come and try and fight all 5 of us at once. But SIUE just really didn't have a sense of urgency, it feels.
Glacially slow. I love that. I'm gonna steal that from you, Kimchi. I hope you know that. That is such a good line.
I wish I
don't
could say
care.
it's mine. It's a good one, though.
I don't care if it's original. That's a banger. I'm stealing it.
No way.
Okay, yeah.
This is the power of the scope. Oh, no. I thought it was going to be crazy with the Scopos power.
No, but either way, back to kind of, you know, that topic of that slow push. I mean, yeah, like, you even... Hey! We kind of talked about Clash a little bit. There it is. Too bad there's no Blackbeard to go face-to-face, but there is the Blitz, so the fantasy comes true just a little bit.
Another rush comp.
So I am excited for that.
And by rush comp, I mean Blitz.
Yeah, you can hardly call that a rush comp at this point, considering how broadly he's used. But they are getting a fast entry into 3rd floor. There are 2 players on the 3rd floor. Oh, the Clash does get spotted. They know the troublemaker is here. And now here comes the clear from Electrical. They got the ping. Why is Courier not pushing this yet? Oh, we are seeing a creep up. Clash taking significant damage. Now down to less than half HP. At this point, that's a lot of damage. And now we're going to potentially see an Electrical clear, which I do wonder what happened there, as we did see a bit of a creep up, but it looks like they were able to get away. And I think that would be in thanks to Scoopos and be able to switch out.
Ooh, that was a bit of a near timing situation for Epic right there. Right when he was leaving the room, I was wondering if they were going to go for the swing and just try to blitz the room. Didn't happen, but Epic's still going to take a chunk here, and they're getting pretty valuable chunks out of operators that they are going to have struggles killing off eventually. Oh, what a great swing there by MSK as well.
Oh, yeah. Great swing. Unfortunately, bad timing. Oh, the nade coming out. They are putting so much pressure on Overlord, and considering they have a player advantage, they can do it. Oh, that was not the saving grace you thought it was. Right. Now Overlord having a lot of pressure, getting meleeed out by Rain, taking quite a bit of damage to the shield, but still able to hold up. You got another player ready for the swing. Is Lion ready for this? There's the cover. Oh, nope. Gonna go down. It's gonna be Rain. Oh, and the Fuse actually picked someone up as well. That's going to be Spicy Block. That's a huge pick. And they still have a player advantage. Oh, and with Shanghai going down as well, it's now up to Clash. Picks up 1, picks up 2. Wow, Overlord. Way to flip the secondary. Now it's all up to Chaos, holding a relatively strong power angle here. Smoke going down, but this swing could be around, causing mistake. Oh, a lot of damage coming out of Chaos. There's a push, mid reload. Oh, he missed her. Oh no, the whiff. Oh, Chaos was supposed to die, and it didn't happen.
Oh my god, it was right there. It was in your hands, Overlord. The whole play. You could have made Clash look good.
That clutch was almost disgusting. And don't get me wrong, that 2K was beautiful.
That was beautiful, yep.
But man, that's a devastating loss. But then again, don't get me wrong, they still have a round lead. They're still doing well. But I can't imagine how MSU feels after that. Honestly, I don't think it would be so much salt. It would just be more like disbelief of, man, we could have closed this out. And now we got to do 2 more rounds, even though we really cleaned that up.
I'm kind of on the other side of the coin there from you. I think MSU don't really care that they lost that round, given how it started. And, I mean, yeah, they needed a miracle clutch right there from Overlord to even have a chance, like a snowball's chance in hell of winning that round. So I don't think they're going to beat themselves too much over losing the round in the end. Obviously, round loss is sunk, but you almost won a 3v1 with a Clash. You might be the luckiest team in the world at this very moment in time.
Yeah, that's a very lucky circumstance coming in from MSU Green, because that was a massive struggle bus for both of them. I gotta ask though, what was that? Why did he look right? Did you see that? Right before he whipped out the pistol, he turned. Yeah, I
moved. But even if Overlord moved, you had the smoke covering it, so he would have to, you know, leave the smoke to be able to see.
Very confusing.
Interesting play. I don't know, honestly. I mean, the first question you should be asking is why did SIUE even conga line into the room? They could have just double swung and ended the round immediately. That's a lot of damage.
Oh, Mr. Epic taking some big heps over towards warehouse balcony. Now down probably to about 40 HP. Too bad we can't really see it. But in any case,
man, that would have been great. We used to have that.
Oh yeah, but looks like they're gonna be getting some info out. Spicy Guac able to take out Inoski. That's a huge pick.
Oh my goodness, guys.
Yeah, the top two facing off, and we see one of the top players come out on top, and they do get that IT wall. They got a clear spot on Mr. Epic. And
no, it's blocked this time.
Doesn't miss or doesn't land. It does look like they do clear out of warehouse. They do have that control, but with that mirror, it's going to be a little bit tougher to push in. Spicy Guac is not willing to give up that command center hall position. He's going to be fighting this one out. Oh, Overlord going to be able to take Chaos down.
Eventually gets Chaos down. It's a round late, but it counts.
Yep. Bringing it down to a 5v3. It's not looking like the cleanest attack. However, opening pick comes out. Rain finally going to be able to take Spicy Guac out. Flashing going out, shooting through the smoke. Gets caught out instead. You got to watch those bullet trails.
Wait, he's in down. There isn't a dead yet.
Oh, yeah, you're right. And potentially go for revival. But this does force a bit of funneling, which gives an opportunity for SIUE to advance. This could be potentially huge.
No, he doesn't know.
Oh, Spot Swan takes another. Now down to 2v2. This entry is huge coming in from Courier. Oh, but the shutdown coming from Steel. That's a big loss. Smoke does come down, but she has to grab the fuser. Very low HP. All it takes is one bullet, and they have information on her. Does manage to take out the BP. All it takes is one miss swing, and there is a winnable situation. A little bit of damage coming out onto Steel. Trying to play this cross with 15 seconds. All it takes is one person overplaying their part, and we could potentially see that overplay as Overlord starts to walk up significantly. Here's the wraparound with the pistol whip, but can't hit the shots. Overlord not letting it happen. Running the time down and playing the tag team.
Match point for MSU here, and that's a tough round, honestly. Bit of a tough. What is my Courier? I mean, I thought he was gonna save it. Courier entered the round saying, "I don't deserve to be in semis." He was playing terribly before that. Almost saved the round there, but it's again enough. They're just not enough for these two teams. I guess their round losses will be just for the rest of the series, just not enough when they lose.
Yeah, I mean, good on SIUE to start making a fighting chance, but
Damos.
I mean, so far, it's not looking good enough, They put in a really good effort, almost had a clean take, but I'm sorry, but that loss from IT was a huge setback. They needed to keep that player alive, and that pretty much put Courier on a bit more weight than could be, handled, right? Keep in mind, Courier is currently 3-9, so this was a lot of activity, coming out from Courier. So it's kind of hard to expect that to carry all the way into a round win. That's where keeping another player up was so crucial, but that just didn't happen. And now they're at match point for this map. Now, keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is MSU Green's map, so for SIUE to put up a fight like this is still quite commendable. But, that's still one less map that they have to work with, forcing, overtime. Or map 3.
The weird thing is, this is, SIUE do have one game of Night Haven. They did win it. It was 7-5, so this time it'll need to be an overtime if they want to keep that perfect win rate on the season. We'll see. I think I would have put it on Damos to save my map, though.
not the most agreeing with that.
Drones activated.
You got a lot of players stacked up over towards Breach, though. You got 3 players holding that. Maybe looking to provide some kind of pseudo kind of rush in order to kind of confirm where the positioning is. But I don't think there's enough pressure or, you know, kind of demonstration to show any real threat. The Damo's ping now coming out.
Changing mag.
Gonna be hunting for steel.
He got good. He couldn't really
cancel.
swing.
Oh, yeah. Still looking for an opportunity to take this player out.
He doesn't
No,
know.
they don't quite have that information. Spicy Guac gonna be able to catch him out. You can't funnel on one player. That's kind of the weakness of the Damos and the re-swing for a refrag, but
No way.
that ain't gonna happen. Leading to a double pick going out. And it does look like they might potentially try to force a plant here. And they do try to go for it. What? That's a choice. Spicy Guac does take chaos, though. But I mean, now you're at a 2-person disadvantage. I don't know what that call was, but I don't think that was quite it. As now, MSU Green knows that SIUE is somewhat serious about pushing this. And with only 2 plays remaining, there is way too much to dissect to gain any reasonable ground here. You do have Blitz slowly walking up. Oh, but that smoke, I don't think that was what you were thinking it was, as that's going to expose that there's still a player above. Now with the scramble, they know where the Blitz is. Does get hit with the... That's the... Never mind. But yeah, now 4v2, you got Rain trying to make something happen. Dave Sonoro does manage to make it. Oh, nope. There's the Nitro. And yeah, there's the headshot.
Another quad for Guac. Is that 2 on the game now?
I think it is.
I think that is 2 quads for him alone. I think we had 3 throughout this entire map, which is a lot more not aces than I thought we would have.
Oh yeah, a lot of 4K coming out from that matchup. But yeah, no, I'm honestly just kind of, I would say, a little surprised from SIUE. Going for that Breach Force twice, I can't get behind it. I really can't. You know? And again, this is MSU Green's map, but definitely some confusing turnarounds there. I will definitely put that out there. But I think that what MSU Green really had there, which was kind of the key advantage, was just a better, you know, support system, right? When we saw basement, they had presence over on first floor. They ran the time down, and they had the utility support, and they had a really good setup against those forced plants. Now, there might have been a bit of a intel gap coming in from SIUE, but that call to push that was a big setback, and MSU Green was able to hold on to that brilliantly. You know, with a 3-3 split, when you're on defense, you really have to step up the attack. And unfortunately, you know, when you go 2 rounds of force plants and then you have a bit, you know, that doesn't really make a good case for you, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Courier, I want to point out again, said he was playing poorly, and I mean, what was it, 3-10, 3-11? Definitely points to it, and that's
Something like
concerning considering he's your second best fragger behind Inosuke. 200 kills on the season. He is the only other player on the team to reach that mark. He is one of your crucial players at any point of the game. He needs to be alive. Inosuke had a phenomenal game. Died a lot, but had a lot of incredible plays and kept the KD positive. Courier just does not show up in this one, and I think that's going to be a critical, I mean, completely a critical part that MSU Green, I don't know if it's they lucked out or just played to shut him down. He's a crucial player. They need to keep in that position, though, and if SIUE want to win this, it's either get him online or just, you got to execute your game plans. It feels like they misexecuted some of their plans, and maybe it's nerves or maybe it's some indecisiveness, but can't really afford that now. It's match point. You're on the verge of elimination, and you're on the verge of playing for third instead of first.
Right. And one thing I want to kind of point out, looking at the stat lines that we have available, what I think is really interesting is when you look at both teams, the difference in survivability is honestly kind of staggering. You know, when you look at, sure, you have a 3-round differential, which kind of to take into account for, that's about, you know, 7 kills to kind of subtract from the equation. there's just much more survivability coming from MSU Green versus SIUE, which is a big disadvantage. Remember what I talked about before between Inoski and Spicy Guac. Inoski had the higher SRV or survivability. In fact, a one in every 3 rounds surviving to the end versus 1 in every 4. That should be a round differential right there, especially when you're one of the key players. But that just didn't turn out at all. And that's where I think there's going to be some considerable, or there could be room for quite a lot of issues. In fact, the SRV was very low here, as a matter of fact. 11 rounds and 10 deaths. That's an extremely low SRV. I think that's like less than 10%. That's like
pick from IUPUI. The flash comes out, trying to push out connector. I'm sorry. And now it's looking like a 1v right there, waiting for the drop. It go down. We'll see one. Push when they got him pushed back.
Gets another one, gets another one!
Oh, they're gonna.
Petit Valley Van Beats.
But it feels weird because like in an ace, it's so fast. It's just getting so fast to die. All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We just had a pretty decent game one, 7-4. MSU Green coming out on top. Kinchi, feel free to take it away. I've already yapped plenty here.
Oh, I yapped too much. Don't worry. We got the match recap 7-4, as Piercing said, and Spicy Quad 18-6. My goodness. A literal 3 KD that game is phenomenal. A 1.2 from Inosuke is a little less impressive. You need to see that survival. You mentioned it already, that survival is kind of the key here to, or seems to be the key for SIUE to pull themselves back into this series. But overall, you could see the spread of kills very open on MSU. Like, besides Spicy Gua, who has double his next teammate, it's 9-5-7-4. That is a pretty phenomenal spread, and no one had more than 8 deaths, which is not surprising. They won 7 of the 11 rounds. But with SIUE, Inosuke and Chaos, drop off after that. Next one is 5-3-2, so it's a bit of a two-headed monster versus a fully online team right now, it seems. And Cougars are going to need to up their team play, as it also seemed a little shaky in the first game if they want to take down MSU on their map pick of Clubhouse.
Yeah, and just talking generally speaking, you know, before we kind of move on real quick, I think fundamentally, if we're going to talk beyond just the fact that this was MSU Green's map pick, obviously, I think there was just a little bit of better, you know, shot calling coming from MSU Green, a little bit more confidence when it comes to executes. And I think their, you know, their utility management was a good amount better when it came to droning or when it came to their op selections. Like we saw the Scoopos for that, you know, solo roam, just adaptations like there that SIUE needed to turn around and do as well, but unfortunately just wasn't present. But keep in mind, SIUE kind of has minimal experience with this map, so there is that caveat. But with that said, I mean, map 2, there will be pretty much an even playing field.
Speaking of map 2, Mr. Epic will be your player to watch if you gambled on this using the Midwest Bets channel in our Discord. 62, holy cow. Wait, what the heck? I was not prepared for this. 62 and 20 on this map. Over a kill per round, has survived nearly 2/3 of all rounds he's played on this, and is a 66.5 siege play. What the heck?
That
Hold on.
yeah, that is insane. And on a map like Clubhouse, I am telling everyone who is watching right now, that is unbelievably dangerous, especially on an equalizer map. That is horrifying, right? And we're not talking like Cafe or Border, you know, some of these kind of toss-up maps. Having someone who can, with a 3.0 KD, 1.15 KPR, this is a player that you will be danged if you do, danged if you don't when it comes to trying to get this player out. But with that said, we're going to be moving on to the next map. We're now in on Clubhouse. First ban, Monty. Are we going to see a Blackbeard ban?
Considering we just
telling you.
considering one of the teams just discovered Blackbeard is allowed, I don't know if we're gonna see it banned, honestly. They didn't even bust it out knowing it was allowed. It's gonna be busted away. That's a weird ban.
Buck.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong. If you are a higher tier team that plays first floor, and let me say this, if you are playing competitive in Midwest R6, play the first floor, right? Just make sure you have that fundamental down. And especially when it comes to basement, Buck is always a must-have. So, not gonna lie, MSU Green, who has had a stronger vertical, banning Buck is insane. I'm just gonna put that out there.
That is kind of nuts. They really took Buck and just embarrassed SIUE last game with it. So yes, very surprising to see the ban come through. Kaid also going to be taken away by SIUE this time, which is odd because that was an operator they heavily leaned on during their defenses. So see how they change, and Blackbeard's out.
Yeah, it's almost like they kind of
For
both
now.
shot
For
themselves in the foot and said,
Oh, never mind, it's gone.
yeah,
Unless
said,
you-
I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot. No, I'm gonna shoot myself in the foot.
I to do it.
Yeah, no, they're not gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Oh, we do see Rain with the Amaru though. Now whether that stays is another question. We're gonna be starting out on Masterman Bedroom, but so far no swap. And if they can get first floor control, which is really hard to hold as a roamer, and if MSU Green overextends into Cash, which they don't seem like the composition to do that. SIUE has a bit of a track record for going to forest plants. Oh, and there's a swap for Dekebi. That's going to be a much better choice because MSU Green knows that SIUE likes to go for these forest plants. And having to call like that on the first round, I mean, you're basically just expecting it. Like, come on, you're going to have it in the back of your head. Okay, it's a first round. They want to get momentum, but that's how you made the right call. It won't be happening.
I would have been surprised to see the Amaru come out. Just does not seem like an Amaru map. Very close quarters, small second floor with little entry point.
It can be with proper planning, but I get what you mean. In general, yeah, not the map.
There's not really anywhere you can go on the second floor that someone isn't already watching or would immediately know where you are and be ready to kill you.
Right, it's pretty rigid when it comes to your options. You got one shot and you screw it up, then it's all out the window.
Yep, that's such a waste of an optic.
Yep, and it does look like they're going to be getting that jacuzzi wall very early on. Bandit all the way in. Logi will not be able to stop that at all. That will be able to go open. They do have a mirror over by bathroom. So, pretty standard composition coming from MSU Green. Interestingly enough, though, we do have Mr. Epic on the two brow, but we haven't really seen it yet. Though, judging from his positioning, I'm guessing that's going to be more for CCTV, which... That makes sense, but we haven't really seen much presence coming from SIUE on this front. You do have Courier starting to rotate over there, but Overlord already gonna be spotting Lord Inoki down there, or Ski. Sorry. Going down early on. Then we're also gonna see Cass taking Mr. Epic 1-1.
Okay, so that is a tuber out, which is an operator that really isn't a set it and forget it. So C4 gonna go off. That's an important pick. CJ cannot stand up without catching on fire at the moment. He's gonna lose about half his health. That is a good chunk of damage onto a pretty safe operator.
And especially for that bathroom position, if a down comes up from that, that is a big opening coming in for SIUE. But speaking of SIUE, so far, not finding really any opening to work with here, but it does look like they might potentially try to force it. You've got Rain holding above Logi Hatch. We could potentially see a drop here, but it doesn't look like the utility might be best geared towards that resolve. However, there comes the smokes. Guap gonna be able to take Chaos down. That's gonna be a big loss. No more hijacking. You got Malusi on the board. That could prove problematic. Courier does manage to get a huge entry into cash. This means that position is now in their favor. Overlord going down as well, thanks to Rain. It's now a 2v2. This is so winnable, especially with the gym position now available. And you got Shanghai stuck in the bathroom. You got one over by Logi, one misstep, and we can see it go down, but a back-to-back exchange of picks coming out, now bringing it to a 1v1. Here's the walk-up. Mira still gonna be a problem with no time remaining. All it takes is one peek, and it's over. But only has 2 impacts. Gonna have to push this, and with no time remaining, could possibly stop this. Wait, what? Oh, she doesn't spot him. Okay, there it is.
Just assumed he was going to be in the corner. Yeah.
Yeah, a little slow to get there, but we got there, or at least she did anyway. And that is going to grant MSU Green the first round. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, oh, he planted on the hatch. That could have been really problematic if, no matter what he did. Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, if you plant on a hatch and the diffuser gets dropped out of the zone, it's automatically diffused and you lose the round as the attacker. Rule of thumb, never plant on the hatch if it's even an option. That can happen, and it does happen. Now, I don't know if they changed the ruling and logic around that, but from what it was before, that's how it usually goes. So, don't really know. I mean, yeah, time constraint, I get it, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, that was the clear win coming in from MSU Green.
You mentioned that Steel had both impacts still available. That could have been disaster even without the extended diffuse. And honestly, having time to clear both, pretty much the key spot that everyone likes to diffuse in when they're short on time, and then just swinging anyways. Like, even if that didn't happen, one impact nade,
options.
One direct hit impact nade, and the round is over no matter what.
100 ways to cook an egg, but as long as you know how to cook an egg, that's all that matters. I know that's not the
one way to burn it.
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's a you problem. I know how to make a perfect omelet.
No,
so.
I do too. I think it's very funny to say that phrase.
Oh yeah.
You can cook an egg in a
that
hundred
is
ways.
technically a way. It's a bad way, but it is a way.
Overcooked.
But speaking of ways, now we're gonna see it figure out how SIUE is gonna try to tackle this attack. As you've got a pretty good roam presence coming in from MSU Green. A lot of rotating options coming out towards the second floor. They do spot out Mr. Epic. That's going to be Valkyrie towards the garage. Not making a push. You've also got Spicy Guac down by lobby. A lot of outside presence, but no first pick coming in yet. The clear, nobody's spotting anybody quite yet.
So I already kind of know how they're going to play this. Come on, it's a Hibana comp. There's one way you do it. You get onto that kitchen hatch right there and just blow it up, play the vertical. Whoa, that is a bit of a bold swing from Steel, feeling invincible 2-0, and it's going to get taken out. And that's an early pick for SIUE. That's going to put him in a really nice position, as that is smoke. That is a lot of area denial just completely removed.
And the thing is, why
C4,
smoke of all ops? I mean, usually you don't play him aggressively like that. You can, but that's a very atypical approach. And, ooh, Spicy Guac going to be taking a large amount of damage. He gets caught from a very nice hold coming in from Chaos over by Warehouse. That's going to be now all vertical clear. And a very early and unexpected drop coming in from Lord Inaski, but does get the down, but goes out in turn. Same with Dave, bringing it to a 2v3, but they have site control. This is very aggressive, but it's looking to backfire. An overextension coming in from Courier. That's going to be another one down. Back to 2v2. Minute remaining. They do have a lot of options for site control to go for the plant and cut the time by 50 seconds, which we're going to see just that. Nitro going out, gets a little bit of damage. The fuse canceled as they go for a pushback, and it succeeds. Shanghai going to be able to take Chaos. bringing it down, and nowhere to turn, no refrag. Rain shuts it down, or gets shut down.
Didn't even get the... Oh, I thought they got the defuse down at least. That would have put some pressure on, but just a perfectly timed swing. Couldn't really go to cover the defuse, and that's... I mean, one of the downfalls of that round, obviously. They had a 2-person advantage, I believe. And
They did.
A few misplaced bullets really cost them that. I mean, Mr. Epic survived by the smallest of crosshair placements. Dude got shot in like the shoulder, just a little bit away from the head, and then just him able to turn that around entirely on pretty much no health was my key takeaways. Like,
well, if you look at the position, if you look at the positioning of the players, you had like 2 over by Church and Hall, and that doesn't really do anything when you got to deal with a player in blue and a player over in Armory. That does absolutely nothing, right? Those 2 positions are the 2 biggest threats to the kind of plant that you're going for. And that positioning from SIUE, I hate to be, you know, a hater, that does absolutely nothing. I mean, that's just free picks to sweep as you start heading towards the planter, which is exactly what they did. A great call for a retake coming in from MSU Green. But I think this is kind of where force plants fundamentally aren't working for SIUE. They've got to
second
have...
time they've done it.
No,
MSU
not in
did
this map. Yeah, I was gonna say not in this map. Yeah. But yeah, they did kind of try it, but either way, now moving on, they are over in CCTV, which for attackers is the most winnable, I would say. Basement kind of lock and key as long as you don't, you know, overplay the roam too much. Pretty stable. It's the same thing with, you know, bedroom. A bit more doable, but a bit tougher. This is gonna be where SIUE dictates whether they're looking at 3-3 best case, 4-2 average, or worst case 6-0, right? Anything can be at play here, but they're looking at minimum 3-round losses from what we're seeing so far.
They did get the barricade down, but they can't really do anything with it. A lot of players covering that position, actually ready for them to try and push it.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers recovered the diffuser.
Let's see what they do with this Flores.
I'm just trying to figure out what the angle kind of is here. Right now, we're seeing a lot of holding coming in from SIUE. A smoke going down as well. Are they going to go for a force plant? They don't have lobby control. That can be really problematic if they try to send that. Not to mention they don't have cash control either. And if you look at the composition, you've got, I believe, Fenrir sells his nitro. So that's 2 nitros on the board. That's way too many.
There's only 1 nitro available.
Oh, only 1? Alright. But there comes the Babe. Smoke's still coming out. They're trying to do another force plant. I'm telling you, Kimchi, these don't work, and we're already seeing the signs of the damage. Mr. Epic able to take Chaos. However, Courier does take Spicy Guac, and there goes Inaski and Courier as well, who's down but revivable. This is now potentially looking at a 3-player disadvantage. More smokes going down, and here comes the run-up.
You meant to go for
the
res.
revive. Gets shot from the balk. Oh, no!
Inaski takes 1, but it's CJ picking up another, and it is Fitzrain with a sliver of health against the world right now.
Yeah, this is not looking too good. With 20 seconds remaining, you still got 1 between construction and bedroom. And with 15 seconds, if he can't get this pick right here, he's going nowhere. Over peaks, not ready for the position, and Fenrir will take that. But this kind of goes back to what I was talking about, right? These force pushes. I like what they're trying to do, but this is not the play. This isn't it. I mean, we've seen how they struggled with that on Nighthaven. We touched on that, and they're still sending it on one of the most 50-50 maps in the game when it comes to player experience. This is like the great equalizer, and you're trying to run a strat that has a poor, and I mean extremely poor track record. That's a dangerous gambit. And right now, we're now at a best case 3-3 situation, but let's take the focus back away from the negatives SIUE and back into positives MSU Green. They have a lot of experience dealing with this playstyle, and they've encapsulated it so well. And I think this kind of speaks to a strong resiliency coming in from MSU Green, as now they've completed a full rotation, and they haven't let up once. Sure, there's been some close calls. Basement got particularly close, but they've been able to prevail the whole time. And now, moving on to bedroom and gym again, just gotta do the same thing and not let these forest plants have any prevalence, as it's very clear SIUE will be keeping it up.
Once again, I'm just not digging this SIUE comp right now. It just doesn't really feel like they do similar anything. I mean, they have a lot of intel at their disposal, and of course they have protected breach if they can avoid getting tricked by the bandit, but it just doesn't really feel like it meshes as well, which seems to be a recurring theme with my opinion of SIUE. Again, my opinion, not at all factual.
What I do kind of... Yeah. No, and I 100% agree with that, but what I find so interesting, right, and I didn't mean to interrupt you, but...
No, I was rambling anyways.
Yeah, no, you're good. Is how they don't have a warding. And I think this speaks a lot to the confidence of MSU Green in dealing with these forest plant situations. They don't need the warden, right? They know how to play around it. And that they do extremely well. Floor's going to be able to open up an opening for walking into bathroom. That was a bit of a problem spot, but they do have a little bit more options to navigate that, which gives them more flexibility in contesting bedroom. That is going to be a big spot if they can clear out this position. Nitro goes out, does moderate damage, bringing Inoki down to 50% HP, but wow, a well-timed mirror break. Rain with a great Twitch drone timing. Clean pick. Huge for SIUE, really. And now, if they can surround, then it will be looking really good. Goyle down to extremely low HP. And now, the push up into bedroom. This is massive. Inoki taking Steel down. And now they have a position to possibly go for a plant. This is going to force a fallback, but with Blitz right behind them, this is a very scary situation. As that plant, by all means, will not go down, but they will be able to take two. That's going to be Courier and Dave, and then Chaos to sweep it out very cleanly, giving SIUE their first round.
Wow, that was a picture-perfect round right there. I mean, it was very picturesque as well with that opening Miro. Just perfectly timed break with the bullets flying through, but they executed on their game plan exactly how they wanted to, and that's honestly the first time I could say that it really felt like SIUE were in control for quite a while, honestly. It's been a bit since it feels like it's been their game as they are busting out a sense. That's an interesting choice, but they got... they got... Why can I... It's not bedroom wall. I'm going to call it bedroom wall anyways, even though it's definitely not that.
Oh, you're talking about jacuzzi.
Is it called jacuzzi?
Yeah.
That's actually crazy. They got jacuzzi wall open, put the pressure on the Mira. Actually, perfect use of the Twitch drone as well to instantly just make the Mira a non-factor. Use that to swing and gain control of bedroom, and the rest of the plan just fell into place for them there. And we're going to need to see a lot more clean execution like that to keep them in this one.
10 seconds to go.
Well, and the main thing to keep in mind there is look at how different SIUE played that there. It wasn't one-fronted at all. They had a very good backup, which was Courier watching from construction. And that is what makes such a big difference, right? Being able to surround and pinch out MSU Green. And that coordination, like you mentioned, on the Mira. Those are big plays coming from SIUE. Those are the kind of things that will need to continue. And they have a good opportunity to do that on basement. With proper coordination, you can absolutely take that site. It's still going to be difficult, but there's very much room for a possibility, especially when they know how MSU Green likes positioning. As we see here, Overlord playing aggressive on smoke. Again, they could possibly try to punish this even sooner.
Getting the foot shots off here. Just instantly broken. Yeah, there's no chance Overlord's going to hold this position for very long. Not safely, at least.
Oh, absolutely not safely. I would agree with you. Still not giving up. I like the enthusiasm, but I don't think this is a winning strategy. As long as you can hold there with that shotgun, which he's doing right now, I think that's going to be the most important thing, right? Because when you've got players down the hall, that is really mortifying, and it prevents them from playing down the hall. So I do like this play, being one of the only players in the roster right now with the shotgun. This allows for a lot of pressure on the hall, but if you get early picked like that, oh, the melee, really?
Inosuke's feeling himself.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, all that benefit now out the window. Because I was going to say you could block the hall watching the vertical, but now that that option's gone, they have full control of that hall, which effectively splits up basement into armory and into cocktail.
We're in a standoff, and Epic is gonna win that one. And I was right when I was about to say, we've seen them in an advantage position before. Remember, first rotation. Oh, they're gonna get guapped. That's a good pick. But last time they were in basement, they got the early pick onto the smoke covering kitchen hallway, and lost the round due to misexecution of the plant. So still a possibility for MSU to win this. Swing doesn't quite get the right timing. Through the blind, gets hit anyway. Wow. That was a back, I believe, and got blinded anyway, still got the kill, so who cares?
Yeah, no, I mean, brilliant aggression coming in from Steel. I was going to say that almost didn't pay off, but it actually turned around greatly for him. And now we see the pushback again. This is kind of where the pressure needs to be calibrated, right? I mean, if you had someone watching rotate, you know, that would have been extremely dangerous. You know, just some kind of more real pressure. Like right now, as things are, they're not feeling real pressure. Yes, you got a player drop down for a diffuser, but there's no real pressure. And we see just that as a career goes down, meaning that Chaos, still down bottom main stairs, is going to have to try salvage something, but there's just no time. It's not happening. But I mean, again, like you said, that real pressure, that positioning, it just, again, it wasn't where it needed to be. MSU Green didn't feel binded there by any means, allowing them to take that. And this is where I talked about, realistically, that 4-2 matchup, because here we are.
Oh no. The 4-2, I mean, I guess that's standard, but this is a map that definitely you would assume would be closer given these teams' experiences and how long I mean, it's been in the game with minor changes. Near identical to day one with a couple more. I mean, there's one of the examples. Little more destruction. Can you let us win? That's crazy. But it's just, do they have any frags left? I know they. Actually, I think Thatchhead is yanked away from him as well. It's just like they didn't have any utility to push off the Mira, so they were just stuck in that hallway. They were double covered on the drop down from the hatch, so they couldn't do anything. Like, legitimately, the lack of utility has locked SIUE into some really bad situations that would be avoidable with either some survival or operator choices.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a very weird situation, I would say. But moving on to this round, now with 4-1 with MSU Green with the lead, SIUE has to take this round. They are on one of the most contestable sites. They weren't able to successfully take it because they tried to go for a force here, but we saw good effect when we seen Fuse in the past. And I think that's going to be really big here to use that to try to push off the utility. And does that go through? Oh, yes, it does. Gets a lot of damage. It doesn't matter. One is all you need to ensure that wall gets open. And by the way, I just want to say, that is a severely underrated piece of utility for getting that wall open. If you got a Fuse, boy, you better get out of there, or that's a free kill right there. I am a Fuse stan. When I first played Siege, guess what? I played Fuse. Yeah, AK plus those pucks, that's all that I want, baby. But anyway, but yeah, used perfectly to get that wall open. But you got a lot of fortifications towards the breach. They're expecting the push towards breach. This is where a pivot is big in order to throw off expectations. Try to take bedroom. We saw a little bit of bedroom presence the last time they went this site. And now is the opportunity to try to run it again. You still have two towards the breach. A minute and 30 seconds, this is where you want to start making your major territory gains. Otherwise, time-wise, you will be at a big disadvantage here. And we're going to see just that. Rain starting to walk in solo into warehouse, looking to clear somebody from lobby and get some kind of presence or control. And that's going to be against Steel, who's all the way over in red stairs. That pick could provide them an opportunity to walk up. Keep in mind, there's still a Nitro on the board, and that's going to be from Overlord, who's still alive.
Just realized also, he wrapped around to not cover the open wall from balcony, but to get healed. I just realized they had Doc, so Overlord back to full health. They're gonna spot out Spicy Guac. As maybe thought he was gonna swing. So he just preemptively fires it, and now he's getting shot at from underneath. Fitzrain's wraparound finally gonna pay off, and it's gonna put a lot of pressure on Guac, but he goes to look at the stairs, and he's not gonna see much more. Courier falls at top. They'll finally get Guac, but it's 4v3, and one of their members is stuck on the complete opposite side of the map.
Yeah, no, this is definitely a rough situation. You see Dave and Chaos both going down. The last one gonna be that red player, and that won't go well as MSU Green will sweep it up into a 5-1. I mean, you needed that red stairs presence. I mean, that was pretty much SIUE's main gambit, but thanks to Steel, they weren't getting that presence when they needed it. And because the time was ran down, remember how I talked about a minute 30, you need to start making serious territory gains close to sight in the immediate lurk proximity. And unfortunately, that didn't come. MSU Green was able to lock out the rest of site, preventing a force plant, which is kind of the desired play style. And that pretty much kind of sealed the fate in what we see now with, unfortunately, a big differential. Huge for MSU Green, but devastating for SIUE. And now they're negotiating in V-Bucks for
how much to let SIUE to win a round.
Love it. But this
6
isn't
V-Bucks.
Fortnite, my friend.
That's all they have to offer, 6.
Broke boys, broke boys, broke boys. I'm kidding, I'm not gonna bet.
Unfortunately,
too much for being in debt.
MSU are asking for 1,000 because the battle pass was increased to 1,000. So I don't think 6 is quite the. They're not going to reach an agreement, sadly, it seems.
Man, but do you know how much ramen noodles that you can get with 1,000 V-Bucks? Man,
none, because that's not. You can't send that to anyone.
I know, I'm just
reconvert it. Epic Games, let us reconvert V-Bucks. Ruin the economy.
Epic, please. Epic, please. But besides the sarcasm and the smart or jokes from me, right now, yeah, 5-1. It's now MSU Green's turn to attack, and I do wonder if they're gonna have a similar pitfalls, or if they will be able to dissect this map more accordingly. We are seeing a walk-up coming in from Warehouse to start to push into CCTV and Cash. They do have a player over by Construction. That's going to be 2 of them, and you've got 1 over in Cash as well. That's going to be... Yeah, Enoski, but does end up falling back. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. That is a rather early fallback, unless they can hold off control over Cash, which they are going for that red wall now. But I mean, this is pretty much right out the gate at SIUE's doorstep. This is pretty scary. You don't want a minute into the round for pretty much everything to already be given away. You know, Cash, CCTV, you want to have a little bit of a pushback, right? Maybe towards a minute 45, minute 30, but that's not really the case. And this gives a lot of flexibility, especially the minimal utility invested to take this space. That's big.
1 spider web and a single Grim canister. That is, actually, it looks like possibly 2. That's 2 zone denials burned in exchange for pretty much already being at the destination you want to be at to execute your game plan.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a pretty well ideal situation, but they still got to deal with the Logi, and it doesn't look like they have much presence over by Jacuzzi side. It might be time to pivot, There goes the fire, but that's not going to really do much. Spicy Guac does manage to catch Dave, however. That is going to be huge. Looking to potentially take another, and Courier slaps back. There's the run out. Whoa, way too aggressive, Courier, as Overlord will be able to refrag coming in for the revive. Perfect timing and positioning coming in from MSU Green in response. We'll see Steel take a lot of damage, but manages to get Inoki down as well. A double kill on the drop. Does get refrag, but it doesn't matter. That is big impact. Nigel going down. Gonna be too early. Doesn't catch. Does get a trade out, as that does put MSU now at match points. Not the start you want. Remember, attackers thrive off momentum. Usually, they win in streaks. You win one round, you got a lot more coming in. So to lose your first defense, this is almost game, set, match without actually saying game, set, match, right?
No, yeah, just no utility forced out early. Again, 2 zone tools and a single Capital bolt is all that SIUE are able to weasel out, and
defuse as many bombs as they can.
pretty much just had to surrender position super early. What are you supposed to do about that? They knew exactly where the mirror was where the mirror was placed, so they could just pretty much swing that whenever they wanted to, and they had control over construction immediately, and they somehow got control over Jim by dying, or almost dying, which is an interesting way to go about getting a room cleared.
Yeah, I mean, that's just way too much for MSU Green to gain with that little utility. I mean, honestly, great pressure, right? Like, when you're able to establish yourself that hard to mandate such a fallback, that puts you in a terrific position, even when it's a 5v5 prior to executing, right? Which those are usually the most hectic, you know, that whole 30-second meta. It's not really emblematic of that, I would say, but it still means you have a substantial edge, you know, keeping all that utility, which we did eventually start to see come into play, right? And that's just, yeah, that's everything you could possibly want in a hand basket, right? Having that kind of initial control. Ooh, doesn't get the drone. It can heavily droned out. Yeah.
They know where he is. Even if he reads the jump in, he is in a terrible position to be able to survive even a chance. Pistol versus rifle, and Inosuke is gonna survive with barely anything. He is one tap and gone, but he's got his one in exchange, and he's back in the positive as well on the KD.
Yeah, but in exchange, that's their Warden player, who they need to keep alive for Mr. Epic with the Ying, which can be a big turnaround if placed correctly, which MSU does handle Ying rather well. And with having Inosuke at such low HP, if that pick comes out, there is big room for MSU Green to turn around. Oh, this could be bad. Having your Ying up against the Warden. Oh, no! There it is! Inosuke able to take Mr. Epic, but it does look like we're considering swing, and there's another down! Why swing that? No! And there's the refrag, but it is too late. You're now down 2 players. What a great hold coming in from Inosuke. He had every right to back up, especially with the Ying on the board, but instead turned that around and pretty much put it in the bag for SIUE. This is the turnaround they sorely needed.
That is the Overlord moment before the round's even over, and that is a good spray down, 2v3, but not covered, so it's 1v3 now. CJ, you better pull up the clutch, or else you owe someone 6 V-Bucks on the side of SIUE.
Bomb located by
Indeed.
attackers.
There comes the
Oh,
throw.
yeah, there's no chance. No way. Not again.
Oh my gosh.
No, not again.
It's a 1v2. Gets a little bit of damage on Courier.
No.
It's open, exposing Courier, who goes down in turn. This is so winnable. Xinghe just has to take this one fight against Rain. They've fallen one by one. There's the swing, and oh, nice try, Shanghai. But that was not gonna flip. No way. As there's the clear. That's
SIUE.
scary, though.
They survive another round, and they're 2 for 2 on denying 1v3 clutches from MSU players. The fact that they're in that position again is again, does not bode well for how the game plan is getting executed or how the matchup is going. But maybe this is the start. Maybe the cat 100. Whoa, they only have 6. Come on, you can't offer 100.
I'm telling you, man, they're so cheap, right?
6
Let's
V
call it-
bucks. 95 maybe.
Yeah, you can't even buy a pack of ramen noodles for the equivalent of 100 V-bucks. Come on now, you gotta make it.
can.
You gotta
Like
sweeten the
$1.
deal just a little bit.
$1. You could buy a single ramen noodle package for $1.
Oh, those dang dastardly inflation. Back in my day, I could have bought a pack of ramen noodles for 25 cents. Okay, back to the game. But yeah, I mean, this is a good comeback for SIUE, but the big concern is how it came about, right? Bringing it down to a 1v1, and a very close one at that. That's not what you want when you have such a lead, especially when you took such a big gamble. Inosuke denied the opportunity for a comeback with Ying by taking those picks. If he went down, MSU Green would have had every opportunity under the sun. Wow, that is a very aggressive entry into Warehouse, and even more so shutdown coming from Inosuke. But if Inosuke went down the last round, that could have been a huge detriment, allowing for Ying to put in the work. But that never came to fruition. But despite that, big differentials. But we're going to see Steel push into Warehouse. We'll be able to take one down. That's going to be Courier. Now bringing it back to a 4v4. And we're going to see major damage come out onto Steel. That's going to be from Red.
Go on, Red.
Still holding on. Inosuke now down, though, but not out. There's the Gumine. Does pull it out, but now at extremely low HP. Could potentially fall back for the revive. But there's the confirm. That ain't happening.
Not again. I think Steel. Oh my goodness! Actually, at 1 health, that is crazy. That is narrow margins right there. Surviving the Blue Mine.
Yeah, that is scarily close.
Honestly, SIUE are in a phenomenal position. It's 4v3, but 2 of their members are pretty much 1 bullet away from either down or dead in the case of Steel. So they can be.
This is not that
pretty
bad.
happy.
Oh yeah, as long as they don't play their part or overplay their part, this is very winnable. And not to mention, when you have low HP, this gives you an impetus to be aggressive, because all you need is 1 good swing and a pre-fire, and that's it. You're down, you're out, that's it. Goodbye. And I think this is where SIUE really needs to temper themselves here, because if they can do that, then they will be able to keep themselves alive for just a bit longer. And with a minute remaining, there's still a good amount of time. So, like I said, tempering that timing is going to be extremely important here, as we now start to see the progress towards construction.
They have these Goyos down, which usually are just a nuisance. If you have enough health, you can tank them. But Epic and Steel, they can't. Those aren't consider how much health you're losing, and you'd have to win the gunfight that potentially follows it. You cannot go across this area for the next like 10 seconds, or else you just instantly die.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of the consequences of having low HP. In a game with headshot meta, that health difference still matters. But here we go. We're going to potentially see that push in soon, with Redlock leading the charge, looking for information to find one, but instead able to pick up a pick, as well as Shanghai to take Chaos. Now the plant going down, Rain fighting for their life, but it won't be enough. Too many numbers and too well played on the side of MSU Green for them to win this out and advance to the finals.
Are you kidding? And the 2-5 team in the regular season have gone undefeated in the playoffs. Are you that is storybook. Top 2's the top 2 though.
Something to behold. So impressive. And honestly, congrats to both teams for the effort that they were able to put in. You know, despite the surmounting situation that SIUE was in, they were still able to start to bring it back. I mean, it was really good plays coming in from Inosuke, but, you know, at some point you got to kind of taper off a little bit, you know, be a bit more balanced when it comes to aggression and passiveness, not really going for a flip of the switch, right? That kind of unpredictability SIUE really didn't have in their hand. But for what they had to work with, They were still able to pull off a few rounds. But I'm telling you, that attack proved way too much for SIUE. You know, usually that's a map where you want a 3-3, and going in a 5-1 is already a recipe for disaster. So, I mean, there really wasn't a lot of options. Even if it was like, you know, back-to-back 1-1, still would have been a losing scenario. So, I mean, kind of a tough ask there. But, I mean, what do you think, Kimchi?
I think it was a valiant effort, definitely. I mean, they had some fight. There was some moments where it looked like they were going to start pulling it back, but it's just too many mistakes in too quick a succession and too frequently as well. And it's MSU Green made a shocking lack of mistakes. Like, you see a 2-5 team coming in and they're playing as well as a unit as they are. They're not one dude and a bunch of support players or a bunch of cleanup guys. They all had their moments throughout that series, and they all pulled their weight equally. And
oh yeah,
that is by far. And they also just executed phenomenally. They knew what they wanted to play, and they were not afraid to make you bend to letting them play that game. And that is such a good strength to have as a team, especially in a do or die scenario like the playoffs. It's very scary to face off against a team who seemingly has their strategy, and good luck making them you either have to beat them on that strategy or just give it up.
Well, and I think another thing that, you know, a lot of people tend to neglect when it comes to the prowess of a team is MSU, they tended to come out in their gunfights, right, at the advantage. But it wasn't just that. It was the way that they engaged each of those different gunfights and situations to give themselves almost always a 55-45. That was truly what made their play style so special. And it also had the added benefit, as we clearly saw with a very early pushback on the first time that SIUE defended Master and Bedroom, it was phantom pressure. Being able to force them to back off so far is really a unique gift that was presented to MSU Green, and they took it in full strides.
Oh yeah, that poking and prod. I mean, I thought that was going to be the pace of the game when I saw that first round on Nighthaven. I was like, they're going to be a slow intel team. They're going to drone, follow it all the time. But no, they did one round of that, and it was off to the races with this team. They used their intel to an advantage so perfectly, and somehow always felt like they were going to win the gunfights, even in situations they should not have. And you gotta have that clutch factor sometimes, and they definitely have it. So that will... Oh, unless you got something to add. You guys something to add? I won't cut you off.
Oh, no, not at all. Just full agreement.
Because we still have another series after this. But before we get to the Division 1 semifinals, we have an interview from the Overlord of MSU Green. As well, I mean, we're going to talk to them before their big match next week for the Midwest Division 6 Championship.
Tap, tap, yeah, I want that. No lines, I don't cut back. Sweet, salty, and all that. Let loose, come get that. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel that? Ooh, you feel that? Ooh, the real back. Ooh, I'm still that. Ooh, you catch that? Ooh, I guess that. The best back. Yeah, yeah. 30,000 up on my pallet. Might jump out if I'm wildin'. Catch my flow, I'm so stylish. Tap, tap, real smooth. Can you play that back, back, back? Can you run that back, back, back? I'm trying to play that back, back, back. I want that. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Tap, tap, let's go, let's go. Right here, can you feel? Let's go. I'ma give it all I got, can't quit, can't stop. I'ma be shut it down like this. You ain't coming to my house, you ain't about what I'm about. I'm taking nothing done. Defense wins games, whatever it takes. I bring it. Defense wins games, whatever it takes. I bring it. I'ma give it all I got, can't stop. I'ma be shut it down like this. Defense wins games, whatever
move pick from IUPY. The flash comes out, trying to push out connector. I'm sorry. And now it's looking like a 1v right there, waiting for the drop. It go down. We'll see one. Push when they got him pushed back.
Gets another one. Gets another one.
Oh, they're gonna.
Richie Valley Van Beats.
But it feels weird because like in an ace, one so fast, it's just getting some death after die.
Can't do anything, but I can blame it on nice.
One Raptors on
After that, like that,
Asteroid, please. Condor, one condor.
It's going up main.
in bathroom, bandit,
Nice.
bandit in bathroom. Bandit up.
Logi dead.
You set up
Nice.
flank.
Nice.
Logi
connector. Nice.
Here, one's here, buff. One below. There, pulling him.
They open.
He's holding you, Logan.
Said.
Dying to fighter.
Down another one,
Above
Logan.
us, above us.
He's still high west. My ace. My fucking ace.
Nice, Logan.
Here's some opportunity for him to push up spots on the cover him down to 92. Here comes the sweep the wall. Knows that there's one close by, but how close does she know? And does finally catch him out. This is a now looking to test that one first, but we can't do all the way downstairs with a health disadvantage. And with those drone holes, Reserve gonna be with one to save the day.
We're probably wall and one came crouch stairs. Right now, crouch. Crouch right, swinging, crouch right. Don't swing it.
Whoa! Yeah, baby!
All right, and we are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we have an interview here with MSU Green. We got the whole squad. Firstly, I just want to say congratulations, and how you guys feeling?
Yeah, honestly, we're feeling pretty good about this win. We're definitely excited to have punched our ticket to the playoffs, and honestly, it was a hard and well-fought game by SIUE. I think at least on Nighthaven, they really gave us a run for our money, and so it's definitely something that we're going to continue to tighten up and prepare for as we head into the finals.
Yeah, and speaking of that matchup, just a question for Clubhouse, because you guys went pretty hard on that map, 7-2, which leads me to kind of question, did you guys do any kind of prep work for Clubhouse prior to the map? Usually this is kind of a more equalizer, so I see a lot of teams not investing heavily into that. Did you guys have any pre-preparation or scrims?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, as we said in the pregame quote, if you can't outplay them, outwork them. So, one of our big things was making sure that we were ready for Clubhouse. We knew that they had played Clubhouse a lot in the regular season, and so our number one priority was getting strats for Clubhouse, dry running, getting those strats or getting those scrims done, and doing a little pregame scrim. Get warmed up on Clubhouse since it wasn't our map pick, just something to kind of get us locked in and ready to go.
Okay, and did you guys bring out any like specific strats for Clubhouse? Because it seemed a lot of it was pretty standard, or was there a little pocket strat that you had along the way? I didn't notice anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say for the most part, our strats remain pretty default throughout the entire thing. I would say the only thing that really comes to mind is we tend to play our basement a little more aggressive than a lot of other teams typically do. Much less of a bunker and much more of an extended roam, which I think really kind of enables us to surprise people on that and catch people in places that they're not expecting. But beyond that, it really was about just kind of reinforcing our defaults and making sure that kind of everybody knew where to go, everybody knew what the setup was, and just kind of what the game plan was from the get-go. Stay organized, stay communicating. Yeah.
Kimchi?
So, you're 4-0 now in the playoffs. How are you guys feeling about that? Because out of
Yeah.
nowhere, it seems out of nowhere, at least given the regular season. But you got
Yeah.
hot at the right time, and now 2 wins away from the championship, 6-0 on the table.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely something we're looking forward to and would be excited to get for sure. I think our regular season performance left a lot to be desired for us, and I know that we as a team worked really hard on kind of course correcting for the playoffs, since we knew that a lot of that's do or die on those one BO3 to kind of tie it all up in a given round. So it was definitely something that we thought about and definitely something that we worked hard on going into all of our playoff matches, but especially this one.
Yeah, it shows you guys played this match so phenomenally well. Like
Thank you.
the little cleanup that you guys like, there were a few points where we were like, okay, they can clean this up, and then Clubhouse was just like a complete 180. Like it was
Right.
very much yours. Like you guys were very comfortable, it seemed, and I
Yeah,
hope to see that
absolutely.
improvement into the final because that'd be awesome.
Me too, man. Me too. Honestly, Clubhouse was like we said, something that we hadn't really played a ton of. But surprisingly, we always tend to do really well on opponents' map picks. I don't know why. It's just something that we do. And as long as we can keep that going, I think we have a good shot at winning it all.
Well, yeah, that's a pretty unique benefit and a boon to have. So, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely would be interesting to see that come about, winning on the other team's map pick, especially considering your pick was actually a lot closer, funny enough. And
Yeah.
speaking of Night Haven, because this is where the trend started, we did witness a lot of force plants coming from SIUE. So my question to you was that a pattern that you recognized and took advantage of, or did your setups just naturally align as anti-rush, or were you specifically preparing for that possibility, which did end up happening on numerous occasions?
Yeah, absolutely. It was definitely something that we considered. Since we run a lot of our strats as more of an extended roam, we are always vigilant and always practicing in strats to kind of guard against that rush play. And I think it really kind of helps, like knowing that that's our weakness, because then it ends up translating into more time being spent preparing for those forced rushes, making sure that everyone is calm, cool, and collected going into post plant. Nobody's freaking out, running around. Everybody kind of knows what they have to do, focuses in on that vision, and just executes. And I think one of the things that we definitely worked on, at least as far as Night Haven plants, was just making sure that we had the right amount of, vert play, making sure that we had the right players in the right positions to really challenge them from multiple angles and make sure that even if the plant did go down, we were still able to put up one hell of a fight on the back end.
Yeah, and that's absolutely the kind of flexibility you need. So great call on you guys, honestly, because I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure about Kimchi, but I'm sure he's I'm just messing with you, man. But yeah, no, we definitely saw the adaptations coming in full front. And we saw how much impact that was having. And so we were just kind of wondering if it was more custom tailored, but it sounds like it wasn't so much of a, specific, oh, they're doing this, but Rather, you already had this implemented into your SOP or standard operating procedure. So honestly, well done on that part because it came out very cleanly.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it honestly wouldn't be possible without our teammates. Honestly, I think they did a great job today. CJ Shanghai here doing great on the post plant. Steele doing great in the clutches. And then we had our two entries, Epic, and then Guac's setting up his stuff. But overall, it was really about kind of making sure that each of our players was able to kind of operate independently and kind of think critically for themselves and just kind of giving them the groundwork to make those plays and make those fantastic executes that we saw, especially on Clubhouse Attack. I'm especially proud of them for the executes there.
Kenji?
You talked about the clutches very briefly, like you just glanced over them, but 2 1v3s today, and
yeah,
didn't end up winning them. But the fact that like you and it was CJ on the other one on Clubhouse, and the fact that both of you pulled those two dead even and pretty much were just one bullet away from winning the round. Like, what is just the confidence in yourselves and each other to just know that your teammates can pull that off at pretty much any time if need be?
Yeah, honestly, it's about having the right amount of intel and having teammates who are able to communicate. Honestly, one of the hardest things I think that we've dealt with as far as 1vx situations is really just making sure that we have as much information as possible so that way we're able to kind of construct a model in our head of, okay, we know this guy's isolated, so let's pick him off in a 1v1, and then, this person might be overextending, so let's, punish that. And so I think, honestly, it's really more about making sure that those 1vx's don't feel like a 1vx and instead feel like a team effort to just close out the round.
Yeah, it clearly shows. You guys were so shockingly comfortable for very dire situations that most teams would just start either just giving up or just start joking around and like, how many kills can I pick up before they take me out? But just being able to pull those back seems pretty nuts.
Yeah, it's been a lot of hard work, and honestly, I really appreciate that we've been able to do it so far.
Yeah, and then one, or I guess close to one last question for you.
Yeah.
So we saw on Nighthaven when you guys were attacking, one of the first things you guys ran up on was you got an initial pick. I believe that was around IT or electrical, and you full sent it into site, and then ended up losing diffuser on warehouse balcony, if I'm remembering correctly, and it all kind of fell apart from there. So what kind of happened there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think honestly, it just comes down to a slip in communication, and just making sure that our players were where they needed to be. Obviously, that wasn't the case, but definitely something that we've been working on and continue to work on is just making sure that everybody knows the game plan, that we've got our fundamentals secured. Who's bringing the EMPs, who's bringing the hard breaches, who's got the diffuser, and honestly, sometimes in the grand scheme of things, little bits and pieces like that can slip through the cracks. But I'd like to think that we pride ourselves on being able to minimize those mistakes and ensuring that for every round where we leave the diffuser out, there's another 3 rounds where we get the plant down in sight and everybody's holding the post plant.
Gotcha. Any shout outs before we head out?
Yeah, honestly, just like to shout out the university for allowing us to use their space, their lounge. Shout out my incredible players. I'm so excited to be able to bring them to the finals. Shout out to Lumi on Twitter. She's our club president, and she's been making a lot of this possible. And honestly, could not be more excited. There she is. Couldn't be more excited to stamp our ticket to the finals and get ready to face whoever's going to win that next game. I think I'm eager to watch it and figure out who we're going to be facing.
Outstanding. Kimchi, take us into the next matchup.
Well,
awesome.
Thank you guys for a phenomenal game. Thank you, SIUE, of course, for being the other participant and putting up a pretty good fight. Congrats, of course, to MSU Green for making the finals. But that is not it for today. We still have one more series. It's the D1 and 2 semi-finals. My goodness, I cannot believe I mixed that up. We have Purdue Esports versus Illini Esports. So don't go anywhere. It is the end for Piercing here for today.
Yeah, unfortunately.
We're going to have Sojourner Kai joining us, or joining me and you guys on the cast. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
All right, take it easy.